Welcome, amazing agents from across the country. Today is August 31st, 2017, and this is Mastermind call number 141. And, geez, I hardly had to beg at all today, and we already have a couple people in the queue. Thank you for you early participants. For the rest of you, we're going to have pretty close to 100 people on this call, and we want your participation. We will not leave until every question is answered. There's no dumb questions. If you're brand new, that's okay. A lot of other people are also. We want your success stories. We want your challenges. We want to hear from you. So we got 3 in there already, so I may not even have to ask again today. I want to, if the person who I spoke to this week, forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but one of our old subscribers had gotten a letter from someone. He had gotten a call from a letter he sent out a year ago. And if you're on the call, I'd love to have you share that story with us. Hit *6 and then hit 1. The meantime, let's go around the queue. Tim, anything you want to share with the group? I mean, go around the horn, not the queue.
Well, it could be a personal inside queue, you know.
That's true. The partner queue, you're up.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The partner queue. No, I just, for all of us, I know that all of our minds are somewhat focused on what's going on in Texas, and for those of you who are our customers down there, our thoughts are with you, and if there's anything that we can do to help, we'll certainly do that. And we've been working with a couple of the folks down there to do some special things to help them out, and I urge you, if there's anything that you can do in your local market to try and help some of those folks down there, just remember that there's literally hundreds of thousands of people down there whose lives have been changed for a very, very long time over the last few days, and they're suffering. So if there's something you can do to help, please go do that, and do it without worrying about, who's in charge of the program or anything else. Anything you can do is going to be needed, and I've talked to a lot of folks that live down that way, and it's really important that they know that people are helping them out, and lots of resources are pouring in, and all that sort of stuff. And the other thing I would say is that, unfortunately, we got another one churning out in the Atlantic right now that my partner Jim reminded me this morning looks a little bit like the Hurricane Andrew looked before it came here, according to that. So we're certainly hoping that doesn't challenge anybody else as well. But do what you can to help the folks down there. We're doing it, and I urge you to do the same thing.
Well said. Chad, anything you want to share this week?
Yeah, just remind everybody that next Wednesday is the first Wednesday of the month. So the first Wednesday of each month we do a probate role play call at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. So look for the email on that, and if you can make it, again, that's Wednesday the 6th at 2 p.m. And following day, on the 7th, this call next week is the first Mastermind call of the week, where we do our Ask the Expert. And we have a pretty cool guest. So I wanted to bring a probate attorney in for you guys to, for one, to interview, and two, for you to have the opportunity to ask questions to. So the gentleman that will be joining us is actually Roger Alisi's, one of Roger Alisi's probate attorney partners. And Roger's a subscriber of ours and a frequent participant. And so his attorney has a great story, how he got into the business, has a lot of experience, and has worked with Roger, who is using our system. So I think it'll be a really helpful interview for you guys to kind of hear, from the source, how you can be most beneficial to the attorney. So tune in next week for that. We'll do the first half of the call as Ask the Expert, and then go resume the normal call.
Excellent. And the one we did about, this will be our second ask. That's a tongue twister. Ask an Expert call. The first one we did the first week of August was with a really prominent estate sale expert. She is actually the Association of Estate Sale Specialists. That's probably not the right title, but she's the president of that group. And that was a great call. If you weren't able to make that, just go back and listen to that. That's posted on our website also. And this should be a good call. And there'll still be time for y'all to ask questions. We try to keep the expert to 15 to 20 minutes, and then we move on with our regular call. But this should be a good one. So come with some good questions, things that have stumped you about the probate process. Now, this gentleman is going to be in one particular state, but the process is pretty similar coast to coast. So make sure you make that call and come with good questions. And then for the the probate role play call, tongue-tied here, the next day, the only ground rule there is it's kind of like Jeopardy. It's got to be in the form of a question. For that call, we don't want you to ask general questions like you ask on this call. It's more of a role play, places that you're getting stuck when you're talking to these people. And you don't have to be the agent. Chad will be the expert. So we have yet to stump Chad. We'll have to have a special prize if anybody does. But come on with your toughest conversations and challenge Chad. That's 1 o'clock, same phone number, or 2 o'clock, same phone number next Wednesday. And Tom, I know you're on now. Anything from a customer service perspective?
Just to remind everybody that we're here to help. Please don't hesitate to contact us. Probably the best way is to just send us an email at support@alltheleads.com. We track those and then assign them to the appropriate person to get back with you. That's
excellent.
It.
Perfect. Well, we have 3 people in the queue. I'm not sure if the gentleman that I mentioned is in there. If he isn't, I'll tell his story for him. But let's go ahead and get started. And we got plenty of room for others. Again, hit *6 and hit 1, and you'll be next up. First person up today is phone number ending in 4798. You're up. Can you hear us? There you go. Oh, we lost him. Hey, 4798, the phone number ending in 4798. You dropped off. If you would, go ahead and sign back in. Chad, can you hear me? All right.
I hear you, bud.
guys. Okay.
Yeah,
I was afraid I dropped. Okay. Want to make sure I didn't drop off. All right. So next up is phone number ending in 8474. You're up.
My name is James Motley. I am not a current registered user, but I'm sitting in to get an understanding of what this program has to offer. One of the things that comes to mind is whether or not there are properties or programs in place to allow me to communicate with real estate owners and with the attorneys involved in the probate. Do you have something already packaged and ready to go?
Yeah, and Chad, if you would, I guess you can go over there. Our coach, Chad, will tell. First of all, yes, we give you all the information on everybody involved in the process with names, addresses, and multiple phone numbers. And then, Chad, I guess, and this would actually be good for any of our subscribers that haven't done it. If you would give them a real quick overview of what we have in Fast Track. You there, Chad?
I think Chad may have dropped off, and I'll hop on here for a second.
Am I here?
Yeah, you are now.
Sorry, I muted my earpiece. In addition to just providing leads, a big piece of the value that we provide is a system to go with those leads. So the first thing you'll do when you log into our subscriber portal is what's called Probate Fast Track Training, and that's broken into 3 modules to kind of help you get started as quickly as possible. It's a total of only about 38 minutes of video training that will put you in front of 99% of agents in the country. In addition to that, we do these calls weekly. We archive them, and we have a couple hundred hours of these. And then as you heard at the beginning of the call, we do a monthly role play call, and those are also archived, and we have probably 50 or 60 hours of those. We also can help you automate your direct mail completely. We have proven letters that have made literally millions and millions of dollars in gross commission across the country. And the training, I mean, I'm just touching on the high spots. I mean, most of the questions that you have can probably be answered by just taking a quick look at the FAQs on our website. And once you get in, the Fast Track Training will kind of fill in all the gaps. And anything you feel like you should know but you don't, the Fast Track is really designed to kind of fill in those gaps and get you ready to approach these folks.
Does that help? Does that answer your question, sir?
That does. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Welcome aboard. And again, visit the website, those frequently asked questions. If you're not a subscriber, we've had attorneys tell us that give us compliments on how thorough those questions and answers are there. We only have one other person in the queue. The original gentleman dropped out, if you would, go ahead and hit *6 and hit pound and get back in. In the meantime, phone number ending in 1189, you're up.
Okay, so actually, I don't know if you all have any answers for this, but just any input you have. I have a case where someone actually called me from my voicemail, so people do actually return voicemails from time to time. And the case is such that there's 5 siblings, 2 siblings, 2 sisters, and the mother are on the deed to the property. The 2 sisters on the deed want to sell the property. In the will, it's specified that the property be sold by November 1st, okay, or actually a year after the mother's passing. That puts it at this November the 1st. The 2 additional siblings are people that don't work. One of them is squatting in the house of the mother and is somewhat of a hoarder. And the way the will is set up is they said they wanted the place sold within a year of the mother's passing. This spot where the mother was on the deed is willed to all 5 of the children. Okay, so that means the 2 squatter children or grown folks actually have some, I guess, equitable interest in the property because now, according to the will, there are, you have to get them to sign off on it. So my question to you is, what would you all do in that kind of a case? Because the person has a lawyer. So I did defer when she asked me about, what their rights are if they don't sign and that kind of stuff. What could be done? I told her that's your lawyer's lane, and I'm going to stay out of that lane. But just in terms of trying to get this case to move through, you all have any kind of suggestions?
Are you speaking with the personal representative?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, there was a will, so we'll call them the executor since there's a will.
Yeah.
And are they the only heir designated as an executor in the will?
Yes, she is.
Okay, then her job is to carry out what the will says, and the attorney that's the attorney's job as well. So as long as and let me ask you this: the 2 people who don't want to sell are living in the property. Is that right?
One of them is living in there. The other one is a brother who doesn't work. And they say they want to try to buy the property, but they haven't worked or anything. So it's very unlikely that they would be able to get a loan.
Okay. Is there any money in the estate?
Not really. They need to sell the house.
So you're in a position where if you do the right thing and do what the will says, you're making somebody homeless, right? And none of us really want to be that person. So no one wants to kick somebody out that probably doesn't have the mental capacity or the ambition in life to find a suitable place to live.
Well,
so,
the thing with that, Chad, is she has a grown daughter, and that person is 69, and what I had offered to do was to find potential places for her to live. But she would have to purchase as far as I know. So she may have a place where she actually can stay with other family if they put her out. But she's resistant, and she's a hoarder.
Well, even if you go put a sign in the yard, you're not going to sell that house with her in it. So if you want this listing, if you want the listing, you're going to have to go the extra mile and find a way to motivate her to move out. And, it's going to include reminding her that she is on the list of heirs. The house must be sold, and it will sell for a lot more money. And you can do this in a much more controlled manner if she moves now, because by November 1st, this asset has to be liquidated. And you may have to have you may have to have a real candid conversation and paint the dire picture of your life is about to change. I can help you, or I can work against you. But or someone can work against you. But I'm here to help, and I can help you. I can help you find a suitable living, and if you're committed to that, then I'm committed to that. But I think that's the only way you're going to. I mean, other than just letting it ride and go through the legal process of her being evicted so the home can be sold.
But another thing too is because you have all 5 splitting up that 1/3, which was the mother, on the deed, then does that not mean that they all have to sign off on it? And I deferred that back to her lawyer.
It just depends what the will says. And the attorney's going to have to read the will and see what the deceased wishes were. So If there weren't a will, if we were talking about an intestate succession, then yes, state law would prevail. But if somebody wrote a will and that will's validated by the court, it doesn't they might not be entitled to anything. It really depends on what the will says.
Okay.
So
I
think somebody needs to have a conversation with the occupant of the house and say, listen, we're on a 60-day clock here, and this can happen cooperatively or this can happen legally. You need to make a choice.
And Belinda, I'm assuming you have not listed the property yet, correct?
Oh, no, I haven't even seen it. As a matter of fact, I have the appointment tomorrow to go see them, but I drove past the property yesterday just to get an idea of the area and neighborhoods. I could work up some numbers, and it's in a nice neighborhood, so it looks good from the outside.
Because I would absolutely meet with the executor, get the property listed, maybe take a longer listing than usual, and promise her that you're going to do everything in your power to help resolve the situation. Because it's going to be sold, and she's going to have to leave. So, you may as well, and I think if you give her that incentive that you're going to try to help convince her sister to move and try to find her another place, but you just need to know that you're going to be the one selling that property. There's no reason that she shouldn't go ahead and sign the listing now. And I probably would take a longer listing just to be safe, to make sure.
Yeah,
and and put your MLS start date would be November 1st, so that way you're not obligated to put up a listing that's not ready.
But the only other caveat that I've forgot to mention was that her attorney had actually advised her to get 3 CMAs from different agents. So I'm like, I don't know why that's going to be necessary, but of course I'm going in with the mindset of, hey, I'm getting that listed. I'm not going over there to wait for them to interview 2 other agents. I'm going to show value. I've already kind of connected with her, had long conversation with her, so I'm going under the presumption of, I'm going to take the listing. But it's not guaranteed because she has a lawyer in there giving her advice, too, that she's listening to.
Well, I think you also need to show her that valuing a property, especially in a situation like this, it's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, hell, anybody can run a CMA. So just I would downplay that and be like, I understand why he said it, but here's what you need to understand. We're talking about like that in this case, that's just that's a distraction. We've got much bigger issues, and by the way, the CMA is going to be drastically different in its current situation than it will be when I get finished going through the plan that I'm about to lay out for you. So, I mean, if I give you a CMA right now, it's going to be 20-30% lower because you got a house full of junk and an unwanted inhabitant. So let's just not worry about pricing as much as how we're going to do this, and trust that I'm going to position you for the highest price in the market. And the other agents probably aren't going to go that far and say that, but just I would downplay the valuation and say, well, you can't accurately do it anyways until we actually get the home cleaned out.
Okay. Thanks.
And Belinda, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say, Belinda, do you work with investors at all?
Oh yeah. I got some that I can set up like a little private auction if you want, and have people go over and put offers on it, things like that. Yeah, I have some investors that I can.
The only reason I was asking is one of the things you may want to go do. It sounds like access to the property may be a bit of a challenge for you, and it might also be helpful for you if you have an investor that you have a good relationship with to potentially take the investor with you on that walkthrough. And first off, you're showing some additional strength that you have. And also, the investor might be able to say, well, as a cash offer, here's what I have based on the condition that the house is in today, and that gives you additional conversation to have with that seller at some point.
Okay.
And the other thing you need to, the word hoarder is sometimes thrown around. It can mean a lot of different things. Like the scope of that is vast, but when you're there, it would be good to note whether anything is, one, are there safety and sanitary issues, and should a social worker be involved? and two, because we're talking about a senior citizen, so there are programs to help.
Yeah.
And
her daughter's going to be there for that very purpose, because, I wanted her to be there in case there's some places I can find for them to be able to purchase, maybe a small condo or something like that. But, yeah.
So one of the things that you may need to do, if it is a true hoarder situation, and if she has an attachment to that personal property, you may need to get
She's been living there 20 years, rent free.
Yeah. So you're talking about taking somebody that has seemingly a problem coping and removing them from their only comfortable spot on earth, and it's not going to be easy for them. So you may, because it's a senior citizen, it'll make this easier. You may want to get a social worker involved, and there are programs. So you might want to familiarize yourself with that today before your appointment.
Okay.
Look at the local behavioral health care businesses. A lot of them operate on grant money, and they can work with seniors on problems like this. You can also look at nonprofits and your actual call your county board of health. I've actually helped senior citizens who were putting themselves in dangerous positions by moving out of suitable living and didn't have a good plan. And I've gotten the county involved, and together we've helped kind of bring that person down easily and get them comfortable, getting them comfortable in their space, or finding them another space, but making sure that it's done in a controlled way, because they're on a limited income. So you want to be, I would say that will give you a definite edge over any other realtor if you've got that, if you've thought this through and you've got that level of relationships in the community and you know what their options are, because they probably don't know what their options are right now. So if you're prepared to have that conversation, that's really going to impress them.
Okay. Do you all have another call in the queue?
We do, but that's okay. We got time. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a totally separate case. It comes from an attorney this time that I had made contact with last year, so he's finally giving me another referral. And this is a case where you have a property that has two houses on one plot of land. The deceased owns one of the houses, actually owns both, but one of them is being rented out. From what I understand, investors have already started kind of snooping around, giving offers, stuff like that. The PR has told me that they both are more investor properties. I'm not sure about that. I'm due to go see that on Sunday. It's covered by woods. You kind of go through, so I couldn't really peek from the street as I drove past. But here's the rub, though. The tenant is a somewhat hostile tenant. They say he's alcoholic, he's crazy. So we've arranged for me to be to see the properties on Sunday, but they have to, I guess, forcefully get this tenant out now. So they have a lawyer, and they're going to deal with, I guess, going through the legal process, which may take to around October, November again. Any suggestions for that one? It's probably going to be almost the same or similar type of deal.
Couple questions. So is the tenant currently in a lease, or are they current on payments? And in your state, okay. So if they're current on payments, even if their lease has expired, I'm guessing you have a month-to-month holdover tenancy, right? In your state?
I think it's a little bit more like that. I didn't get that detail, but I'll ask her more on Saturday.
Okay, so if you've got a property owner accepting rent from a tenant occupying their property, that is a landlord-tenant relationship. So you can't just evict him.
Right.
You need to give him a 5-day pay or quit, or you need to give him a notice that he has to move out. You're terminating the lease, and then if they don't move out in that notice time, then you give them the 5-day pay or quit, and then you can file the unlawful detainer and move forward. But it's not quite as simple as kicking somebody out if you're taking his money.
I think I'm not clear on that, but I know that she does have involved with that and dealing with, getting the tenant out. So I'm anticipating not taking that listing until the tenant's out, is, cleaned up a bit. Even though she thinks it's an investor property, I haven't seen it. So, the inventory is so shallow. We have retail buyers that are putting overbidding on properties that need substantial work, and they're willing to do it.
So the other question I have, you've got two houses built on one original piece of land.
Yeah,
what are the utilities? But listen, so I'm trying to get to the potential here. What's the utility situation? Are they on a well and septic, or are they on public utilities? Do they have separate electric?
I think they're on public. I'm not
Okay, so
absolutely
you have
sure,
separate utilities to each home?
I'm not clear on that. I don't know.
Okay, where I'm going with this is you can create a
Mhm.
lot more value for the family if you can subdivide the lot and sell
Mhm.
2 individual properties. It might take some time, but if
Mhm.
their motive, it sounds to me like the only reason they're saying these are investor properties is because they believe that, they're in bad shape.
Yeah, and they may not be that bad.
If they don't need money like tomorrow, then
Mhm.
while you're getting the tenant out, you can start the process of surveying the land, subdividing the lot, and making 2 properties be more valuable than one with all that mess. If you take away those negative aspects of the property, then the value goes up, right? So
right.
while you're dealing with the tenant issue, you can work with the seller and show them how they can make this worth a lot more money, and you can have 2 individual sales, and everybody wins, right?
Wow, that is a phenomenal idea. I started not to even present this. I was like, oh, it's the same as the other one, except for there's 2 houses. Oh, great. Fantastic. Okay. So I'll just dig into how I can start that process. Would it be a thing where I would start with a title company and they would do the survey, or?
No, you need to start. The seller needs to agree to it, and then you need to go to. You would start at the county.
Okay.
Okay. You need to look at the zoning. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into this, but they should go down and meet with probably the county zoning office and say, listen, we've got this single parcel that wasn't subdivided. We want to split this and make it two parcels. And you're going to be talking to the tax department. You're going to be talking to the zoning department. You're going to have surveyors involved. It's not a whole lot of work for you to do, but they just need to go initiate the process, and you need to guide them through that.
And Belinda, your idea of talking to a title company is not a bad one. If the title company may have some insider experience with trying to do something like that in the past, and they may or may not be able to tell you how difficult or how possible it's going to be before you go through the process. Depends on the title company, but it wouldn't hurt to ask, is what I'm saying.
On it. There are a couple of liens on the property, so we already know that from the initial title search that they did. But I think the attorney's dealing with that. So, okay, great. Thanks. I'll give somebody else a chance.
Hey, Belinda, thank you. And I have to make 2 comments. Number one, there's probably new people on this call that are saying, oh, my gosh, these deals are always so difficult. These situations we're mentioning are probably 5% of the probates out there. 90% of them are going to be, a will, cooperative sellers, people, empty houses that are willing to sell. And the other comment, I always have to praise you. You have not been with us. How long have you been with us? Is it 3-4 months now? Maybe 5 months?
Maybe I think since January. But I had a little call reluctance for about 2 months. So
right. Well, and what's really extraordinary, you've got a full-time job, so you have to be our most successful part-time realtor I think we've ever had. And I know that, and I know you're doing deals because you come on every call with good questions, and you don't have good questions like that unless you're out there taking action. So thank you for being a really valuable contributor to the group. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and just one other thing, just to validate what you said before, you're right. They're not all this difficult. The one I closed on July 28th was very straightforward. Contacted them, met them at the house. All the siblings were on one page, cleaned it out, put it on the market, sold, or had a contract within 1 week, closed a month later. Check in the bank.
There you go.
They're not all difficult.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much, as always. We appreciate it, and keep up the great work. We have 2 more people in the queue. Up next is phone number ending in 1166. You're up.
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Ike. How you doing?
Okay.
We can hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hi, Ike.
Okay. I'm new member since yesterday. So
yesterday.
Actually,
so how many deals did you close in the last 24 hours?
None yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting on it. Okay. And,
just kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm the California realtor, and I'm the newbie on the probate. So one thing I have is just a quick question about when you want to open the probate mastery for the September. When I see it, that's only the October date is in there. So if you have anything on the September, let me know when I can start it for that too. The probate mastery, yes.
Chad?
Okay. Yeah, I haven't sent out those emails yet, but we will send you. You'll get an email.
Okay.
With those dates.
Yeah, generally it's the third Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of every month, but with Chad's travel schedule, it changes a little bit. But we'll have he'll probably and you can also go to the calendar on our website. Alltheleads.com, hit the calendar, and as soon as the dates are posted, you'll be able to see them there.
Okay. And one thing I have a question about it is, do I need any the special documentation forms for the probate in California besides the state the legal forms?
You have to ask your broker that. I mean, it's really going to depend on state laws and broker policy.
Oh, okay, I see. But do you have any a website and I can access to find those forms and stuff like that? Do you know any?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would just ask your broker if there's anything that they need to see on a probate listing. Okay. And you may also talk to the probate clerk in your county, or it's a good reason to reach out to some probate attorneys in your market.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome aboard, Ike. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Next up is phone number ending in 7155. You're up.
Hi, this is Liz Welch in Tampa.
Hey, Liz.
And
welcome.
Thank you. I have a couple things here. First of all, just as an FYI for you guys, I'm not touching my phone, but it keeps asking me if I want to join a sub-conference. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but I just wanted to let you know. And the second thing is we started using the process. We've got we're going into our second month, and we're using the process. We're using the letters that you guys have, and we've modified them just a tad to accommodate us. And we're getting good response. We're getting callbacks, so that's a good thing. We get a large amount of leads each month. We get over 500 each month, so we deal with them that way. One question that I have is, do you have an example, Chad, of maybe a voicemail that we can leave? Because not that we can leave, because I use the one that you give, a voicemail recording, so that when they call back to my phone, what they get right now is that I'm a real estate agent, and they pretty much hang up. We get a lot of hang-ups. Do you have any recommendations for a voicemail greeting that I can put out there that maybe it doesn't get the hang-ups?
Is this a number you're only using for probate?
No, it's a number that I'm also using for my real estate.
Okay, is it your cell phone?
It's a Google Voice.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at. So
yeah.
So you're only allowed to have one Google Voice number for each cell phone. That's a challenge.
I know.
My first suggestion would have been a special message. You can sign up for a service like CallFire, or I think that's probably the most economical. You can get a new number for like $3, and you can forward that number to your cell phone. There's other, without going down that rabbit hole of all the options to do. I mean, what's your current voicemail greeting?
It says my name and that with Keller Williams and leave a message and we'll be happy to help you. And then I also give the times of day that we return calls, because I can't always return it right away.
Do you think that you've ever gotten business from disclosing you work for a certain office in your voicemail greeting?
I don't know that I have. I can't
say
that I
have. So I would just to keep this simple, just make your overall voice greeting just a little more generic, and don't say that you're in real estate or with a certain office. Hi, this is Liz. I return calls from 4 to 6 and 8 to 10. Please leave a message, and just keep it really simple.
Okay.
Chances are, if somebody's calling you, they've already seen your branding on wherever they got your phone number, included the branding, so they know what you do and they know who you work for. And with the probate
good
folks,
point. Okay.
And then, Chad, what was Plan B? You said there was a $3 a month option if she wanted to. What was that called again? I know other people probably would be interested in that.
You can get a phone number through CallFire and have an individual phone number. And I think it's $2.99 a month to have a CallFire number, and that can serve as a voicemail. And you can just forward it to your cell phone, or you can just let it land in voicemail.
And then she could do a separate voicemail that this is Liz, senior probate specialist or whatever with, call. She could make that more specific, or would you want to make that generic also?
No, I mean, if it was just probate, then I would make it more specific, and make it match your probate marketing.
Right. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and by the way, we don't know what that is that you're getting. It's not coming from us. If you could take a screenshot of it, it sounds like somebody is jumping in there trying to hack your calls, Liz. If it happens again, send us a screenshot, and we'll have our tech people look at it. But it's not coming from us it shouldn't be coming from the free conferencing. Let us know if you can send us a copy of it.
It's a voice that comes on and says, it cuts you guys off, and it's a voice that comes on and says, if you want to join a sub-conference, press star or whatever it says.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where that's coming from. It certainly is not related to us or the website, but if we can help with that, let us know. Okay. All right. Thanks for contributing. All right. Right now we have one more person in the queue. Phone number ending in 8228. You're up next. Mike, are you there? Phone number 8228. Mike, 8228, you there?
Yep, okay, there we are.
There we are. Now we are.
Yeah.
Good.
Now it just came through. Yeah, this is Mike over in Port Charlotte. I have questions regarding the Obituary mail program that you guys started here recently.
Mm-hmm.
First question, I have a morbid curiosity about the mailer that you're sending out. What sort of time frame is the letter typically going out to the petitioner, personal representative, after the person has passed, or is it just going out to last known address for the decedent? How does that work exactly?
So I'll I'll take that. This is Tim. First off, we get the obit info as soon as it's available to us, and obviously it's over the last 30 days. We do not even furnish the info out until at least 2 weeks after the date of death that's shown in the publication of the obit data, because we simply don't want that to happen. The second thing is that the letter and the approach that we're not just recommending, but basically pretty much mandating that is used is not a, hey, I saw your Uncle Joe passed away and are you interested in selling the house? It is literally a letter to try and put you top of mind for the person who seems to be most likely. This is a numbers game, and it's the person who is most likely based on literally a kind of a hard read interpretation of the obit info that so-and-so in that seems to be the most likely heir that might be appointed as the probate guy or gal to handle that. And it's not a, talking specifically about probate. It's a letter that's simply designed to help you understand, to help the person understand that, one of the services that you offer is part of that. But it's a more traditional letter, and it's the timeliness of it that's important. So it's generally around the 2-week time frame, but it could be 2 weeks to 6 weeks based on whenever that happens, because we furnish them to you on a monthly basis.
And Tim, it's more of a just listed, just sold type of letter that I just listed or I just sold or I do a lot of business in your neighborhood. Give me a call if you want to sell. It's much more of a generic type of letter. Yeah.
But it does highlight the services and things that you can offer that are very specific to probate without talking about probate. In other words, it highlights the fact that, if there are services that are required to sell the house, a clean out, an estate sale, or whatever, those are things that you can add. So without talking about the fact that you're aware that there's a death, or without talking about anything else, it's literally a top of mind campaign.
Okay. All right. Last question is, and this is probably the most important for me, the timeliness of receiving the probate leads. Right now we're getting them once a month. Is there any way to be able to get it more often than once a month, twice a month instead? Part of the issue that I'm having is I just got my leads list the other day, and I had leads on there from or I should say filings from July 12th all the way up to the 15th of this month. The issue that I'm running into here in my particular area here in Florida is by the time I've reached these people, which is shortly after, within actually 5 days of me sending a letter out, they go, oh, yeah, no, we received several letters weeks ago regarding the estate. So it's like I feel like it's almost ill-timed on my part that I'm putting out this letter and making this phone call.
I wanted to generically answer that, and then Tim can get into specifics. In 95% of the country, it's not an issue. You know, the probate attorney files the probate, tells the people you can't sell for a few months. They're in a holding pattern. If you reach them in a month or two, you're fine. But that is exactly the reason we designed the obituary program for hyper-competitive markets like yours. You know, there are some places in Florida and California where as soon as someone dies, you know, the investors kind of pounce on them. So we're trying to create a gentler version of that so that you can still be competitive. Now, having said that, I'll let Tim answer the question about more frequent collection because we can do it in most markets. Tim, do you want to handle that?
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a couple things to talk about. First of them, you live in an area where, it's a high retirement area. There are a lot of folks down there who move to that marketplace because of that, and so it is an area where people are not doing a kindler, gentler approach to basically chasing obits. You've got people who literally look at obits and blast letters out to obit customers, and they're literally just trying to find the low-hanging fruit for somebody who has passed away and a house has got to get sold quickly. And, of course, that's certainly a valid strategy. If those houses need to get sold, that's what the purpose of the Top of Mind program is. As far as additional data collection, it's possible on occasion that we can do that, but remember that we're actually sending somebody into the courthouse to do that. So if we're going to do it more frequently, there's an additional cost of collection, and that does increase the dollar value. And what we'll do is we'll take this offline and take a quick look and see if it's possible to do that in your market and get them to you a bit quicker. But I think the other thing that I would point out, and we frequently point out, is that while you may find that the low-hanging fruit got sold early and they've already done it, it is often the case that probates don't get closed for months and months and even years, and that's kind of the whole purpose of this numbers game, is to just be there when the right time comes. You're not going to get them all, but you'll get some of them, and you'll get top of mind when you can, and that's what we're about trying to provide for you. And yes, some of them may be gone, and some of them may also be gone because there's an internal buyer in the family or whatever, but you're trying to touch as many of them as you can. But we'll get back to you with the possibility of getting them to you maybe twice a month if that's something that's possible to do in your marketplace.
Well, yeah, because I mean, and at the same time, just based on the way you described the obituary program, it almost sounds more cost-effective to go that route instead of the probate route.
Yeah, it might well be, and again, it depends on the market. And obviously, we with the obit program, we not only furnish the obits, but we actually do the direct mail piece for you. It's kind of built into the program, and so we make sure that we get that done. But let me take a quick look, and I'll take it offline, and we'll come back to you and get you an answer back
Tim,
either later today or tomorrow.
You have his name and number? Or do you want him to send an email to support?
Yeah, send something into support@alltheleads.com, and just reference our conversation.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. And, we have two more people in the queue. This would be a real quick time to share the story that I alluded to in the beginning of the call, that even if you're in a market where it's hyper-competitive, I had a gentleman this week who called me. He had tried the program for a month, got no business and quit, and exactly 1 year later, he did a $40,000 flip on a letter he had sent out a year ago. And so he had his assistant get on the phone, start calling year-old leads, and he got 3 more listings. So I was going to tell a lot of you, don't ignore the older leads that you never spoke to. Sometimes 3, 4, 5 months later, yeah, a lot of them are going to be sold, but if they're not, nobody else is going to be calling them. And stick with it long enough to, don't quit if you don't get immediate results. That's kind of the two lessons. And even in your market there, I guarantee you that a percentage of them, significant percentage of them, are not, being hounded by people, and they haven't done anything. So it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game no matter what market you're in. But, yeah, send us that email. We'll see if we can't enhance or or change your program to make it better for you, okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Next up is phone number ending in 4100. You're up next.
Hi, this is Gail from Menlo Park, California. I was going to be part of the Obits, Tim. And have you started that program?
I made an announcement about this last week as well. Here's what we've looked at, and our challenge is not getting them and taking a look at them. This is so different than court mandated records, because it literally requires a person who gets pretty dedicated to it, becomes familiar with the pattern of reporting in a particular county, because this is not a legal deal. These are coming off published obituaries in a county. So some of them are coming from the newspapers, some are coming from funeral homes, some are coming from a couple of the national websites that put it in. So my concern is not that we can't get it to you one time. Our concern is that we can give you a repeating process. It doesn't do us any good to put a program out that we can't feel comfortable that we're certain we're going to be able to replicate month after month and give you data. So what we've been doing is going back to our supply sources and making sure that the data that we get is data that we're going to be able to get every month. And we've had them do some additional stuff, and we've thrown a lot of money at fixing this and making sure we get it right. And hopefully we'll be able to get something out within the next week or so to kind of let you know where we stand. And as soon as we do, we'll let you know.
Okay, great. Then my second question is, last week you talked about being able to delete people from the CRM. How do you do that?
Yeah, I unfortunately apparently misspoke, and I was chastised by our development department. It's done. It's part of our a bigger piece of the pie there that we've done, and we have not put the site online. We reviewed it internally among the partners, and I was not aware it had not been pushed to the public side. So again, I basically 2 for 2 of shooting my mouth off too quickly about that. I will make sure that you're notified when that gets done, but it'll be within the next week or so.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, one more person in the queue. The last up today is phone number ending in 2972.
Hey guys, this is Jonathan from Northern Virginia area. How are you?
Hey John, wonderful. How are you?
Good. I wanted to give a brief update and also thank you. Last week I called in, told you how I was getting crushed on the phones for the first 3 months, took the Probate Mastery course, and then waited a week, in fact, because I was on vacation when I took the course, and started making phone calls last Wednesday and have had 3 appointments with executors and 3 with attorneys. So I just want to thank you guys for the training and development. It's made a huge difference in the business that we're doing. I'm brand new. I'm an ISA. So, Chad, thank you for your training. It's made a big difference. In fact, I just got done with an appointment with an attorney. This is one of my questions. I've got 2. First question is the attorney said something that confused me a little bit about when an estate goes into probate. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. Is the only reason why an estate does not probate, is it because they have a revocable trust?
No, there's other reasons. So
okay.
If property is transferring by contract, for example, a 401k or a pension that said if this spouse dies, the other spouse gets this property, that doesn't have to go through probate. A piece of real estate held as held in joint tenancy doesn't have to go through probate. And in most states, an estate under $100,000 doesn't have to go through probate. So there are exemptions. But, a living trust is one of the biggest exemptions, but there are also, those other things. So, and sometimes what you'll find is even people who hold most of their assets in trust still have to go through probate for the small part that the attorney left out or that they didn't tell them about after the trust was formed. So, for example, if somebody, put their whole estate in this big plan in a living trust and then went out and bought, a rental house in their personal name but didn't fold it into the trust, that rental house has to be probated as part of the estate, even though the trust doesn't. So there are exemptions to it.
Okay, that's helpful to know. Okay. And my second and last question is, have an opportunity to connect with a bankruptcy attorney. I'm curious, what difference is there in our unique selling proposition with them as opposed to your probate attorney? Is there any difference in how you would articulate it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a much different law practice. And, with bankruptcy, you're working with a much different type of client and a much different situation, and frankly, a much more complicated transaction. The key points to a bankruptcy attorney should be that you have cash buyers that always close and do exactly what they say, and you're going to represent them and bring them in and make sure the offers are right and make sure that they're vetted and not wasting his time, because in bankruptcy, typically the house is the largest asset, and it's the best chance that the general creditors have of being paid back is liquidating the largest asset of the house. So it's usually really important to the overall bankruptcy settlement to get the home sold. So you need to show the attorney that you're the guy that can bring serious buyers and sell it for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Whether they're your buyers or your cooperating broker's buyers, you either bring cash buyers to the table or you do a damn good job marketing to everybody else's buyers, right? So those are kind of the key points.
Okay, that makes sense. Great. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
And also that you're a very patient realtor and you're not going to be begging for commission checks when the bankruptcy takes a year to discharge, before it's discharged and settled.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I appreciate it. Congratulations on the turnaround there. We're coming to the end of this call. If you're available next Wednesday on our role play call, 2:00 next Wednesday, come on that role play call. I'd love to have you and Chad role play the old way and the new way. What's made such a difference in you getting responses from these people? Would you mind being put on the spot? Are you available?
No, not at all. I'm not in front of my computer right now, but I'll check, and if I am, I'm definitely on that call. That'll be funny to go the old way. Yeah,
we'll do it the old way and fumble, and that because Chad's usually our agent, but maybe we'll put you on the spot and let everybody hear what you did differently that made such a dramatic result. I think a lot of people could benefit from that. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you guys. I just copy and pasted from Chad, so I feel like a parrot.
All right.
It's working, so I appreciate it.
That's all right. You're a good parrot. You're getting good results, so congratulations. Hey, great calls, Great call, guys. We appreciate so much everybody who showed up, everybody who participated. If you guys have been around before, I always end these calls the same way by challenging you. Take one idea, one thing, one story, one success you heard on today's call. Go out and put it into action and come back next Thursday and report to the group. And please be on the call next Wednesday and be on next Thursday's call. Have a great week, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great week out there, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Take care.